It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning and welcome to Travel and Cruise Industry News on this Friday, November the 18th. And welcome, of course, to the Travel and Cruise Industry News podcast. The headlines this morning: Carnival requires mask on some sailings. Carnival brings back faster to the fun. Royal Caribbean returns to Trinidad and Tobago. And a tragedy on Wonder of the Seas. Those and a lot more here this morning at 11 o'clock. If you're listening via the podcast, of course, welcome aboard. Today is National Apple Cider Day. So whether you're listening via the podcast or you're watching via the live broadcast, go out and get some apple cider today, folks. It's that time of year. I enjoy a little apple cider. Yeah. I mean, and then if you absolutely have to cheat and you can't get apple cider, just have a little apple juice. That'll work just as well. The podcast, of course, you can always access it via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcast from. All the big hitters, just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the fat travel guy. If you ever want to hop over to the video feed, there's always a link in the description of the podcast, which will take you over to the video feed if you want to check out any pictures or clips that we may be using on that day's show. You know, at times over the years, folks, I have shown my disdain and dislike of anything dumb. And I had another dumb issue this morning. Everybody knows that I'm on oxygen. When I get up and walk, I have to have my oxygen going. I can walk about 10 feet. Maybe as far as getting to the bathroom without getting out of breath, but that's about as far. And I got to have the oxygen going. Now, when I'm sitting still, as I am now, I don't need it. It's right behind me. If I start feeling the O2 level getting off track or something, I can easily grab it and start it going. When I'm on my cruises, when I'm out about on the scooter, I have my portable unit. I have my portable unit. Should I fly again, that is acceptable to airlines. It's, you know, it's one of the good ones. It's an Imogen. When I went through this before with my oxygen provider, they told me I had a choice of the tanks or a portable unit. Now, we went through all the business with the doctor requesting it, the testing to make sure that I would work, would be okay on a pulse oxygen delivery system as opposed to the constant flow. And I did. So on my cruises, I get an oxygen concentrator just like I have in my room. I rent that from Scooter Round also. But I have my portable unit. When I'm in the hotels at night on the road going to and from cruises, I have my portable unit. I don't have a concentrator in the room. Many times at night, I turn it off. I don't even need it. If, you know, again, I'm laying still, I might have to turn it back on if to walk to the bathroom or something. So I can get by. I had no concentrator at all on the little short cruise on Margaritaville at Sea Express, because Scoot Around doesn't have facilities in West Palm. So I had only my portable unit. I did fine for the 3 days and 2 nights. I did fine when I was at my cousin's house. I mean, my niece and nephew's house for those 3 or 4 days. Because I bought a used refurbished unit to start with to save money, quite frankly, it's now getting to the point where it's starting to wear out. I mean, it's making rattling noises, and one of these days it's going to stop. I really don't need the tanks anymore. I don't go to therapy where I had to have the tanks with me. I don't need the tanks to go into the dining room. If I'm having a bad oxygen day, I can grab my portable unit and use it just as well. So the last few months, and plus being gone so much of the time, the number of tanks that I've been using in a month's time has dropped. Of course, it makes sense. So I finally get a hold of the oxygen people. It's been days that I've been calling and they never want to answer the phones. I finally got a hold of them a few minutes ago. Here's what they tell me. You have to use 8 tanks a month for 3 months in a row before we can even consider getting you a portable unit. What? Because I haven't been using the tanks as much as I can, that's going to stop me from getting the portable unit that I need? What? That's their excuse. So now I got to start using the tanks again. And for the next 3, and they won't go back. They won't go back and check it just 4 or 5 months ago when I was using tanks. It's got to be the last 3 months. To me, that's just dumb. So now I got to start using, I'll use my concentrator less here in the room, which is fine. And now I've got behind me, you can see the handle back there. That's a tank. So if I need to put oxygen on, rather than having the hose coming over from my concentrator here at the desk, like I've had it for months now, I'll have to turn around and turn the tank on and use the tank. It's so I can get my usage up on the tanks again, so I can get them to order me a portable unit. I pay for the thing anyway. Wow. All right. I'll be back with a couple news stories after a quick word from one of our network sponsors. I hate them. All right, the top story this morning has to do with our friends at Carnival. In an abundance of caution in response to recent reported cases on board cruise ships, that's cases, of course, of COVID, Carnival Cruise Line has reintroduced mandatory mask-wearing policies for the cruise line sailings in Australia. Masks will now be required in all indoor public spaces or in any crowded venue, indoors or outdoors, regardless of the vaccination status. It must be noted that at this time, this policy only impacts Carnival cruises in Australia, and masks are not required on any Carnival ships in other regions. Those indoor spaces include all lounges, corridors, elevators, theaters, casinos, and other spaces, unless guests are eating or drinking. Guests do not need to wear masks in their staterooms. Masks are also now required in outdoors for any large crowded events where guests cannot appropriately distance, such as during deck parties, as well as while on shore tours, buses, or tenders, or while indoors on any shore excursion. Guests must also wear masks during the entire embarkation and debarkation processes. I know that's going to anger some of you folks. I mean, I wouldn't be particularly happy about it either, but I keep my mask with me all the time just in case. If you are on one of the cruises down in Australia that this affects, and you do not want to comply, don't go. There's a reason that they're doing this. Take it for what it's worth. The reintroduced policy is effective immediately. There's no announced end date for when it may be relaxed. Because the policy reads, for the time being, it is likely a temporary measure and will be redacted when possible. Because this policy only impacts sailings in Australia, only two Carnival ships are currently affected, Carnival Splendor and Carnival Luminosa. But I tell you what, folks, if we start getting numbers like they had on several Australian cruises in the last couple of weeks, you'll see the cruise lines going back to this. I promise you, it's a possibility. And no, we're not getting into the debate on whether masks are good or bad or any of that stuff. I'm just telling you, if the cruise line comes out with this and says it, follow it or don't go. Plain and simple. All right, Carnival's bringing back a very popular program. They're bringing back the Faster to the Fun add-on priority program for sailings departing December 1st and later. The return of the program has been confirmed by brand ambassador John Heald and will be available for purchase through Carnival Shore Excursions listings. It's not clear at exactly what time or day the popular add-on package will be available for purchase, but interested guests should continue to monitor the cruise line's website for their cruise reservation in order to secure a spot if they wish. Because the package is slightly different for different voyages, it's likely that it may come online at different times for different sailings, but should be fully listed for all cruises within the next couple of days. And here's what it entails. Priority check-in and embarkation to begin the cruise right away without long lines. Immediate access to the stateroom regardless of embarkation time. Early delivery of luggage to get settled in right away. Dedicated line at guest services to resolve issues more quickly. Priority dining time reservations, including for specialty restaurants. Priority tender access in ports for use water shuttles rather than docks, and priority debarkation, thank you, Lord, for that, at the end of the cruise. Prices for the Faster to the Fun vary depending on the ship, cruise length, and itinerary. The starting price listed on Carnival website is $49.95 per cabin. The single purchase per cabin will provide priority services for all guests booked in that cabin. So it just gets you on quicker and in your cabin quicker. And, it can be, $50 to $100. You want to pay the extra money? Go for it. All right. After more than 20 years, Royal Caribbean is finally returning to Trinidad and Tobago. In a few days, Rhapsody of the Seas will bring the first cruises back to the island, a destination that has been sadly missing from royal itineraries for many years. The long overdue visit was supposed to take place in December last year. However, strict measures in place relating to the pandemic prevented Grandeur of the Seas from making its scheduled calls. Trinidad officials have been working hard to get Royal Caribbean to return to the islands. The cruise line traditionally has a strong connection with the islands due to the many crew from Trinidad and Tobago working on board. In fact, around 2,000 people from Trinidad and Tobago were employed by the cruise line in June following a local recruitment exercise. In the coming months, Rhapsody of the Sea will visit both Trinidad and Tobago. In Trinidad, the ship will visit to Port of Spain, while in Tobago, the cruise ship will visit Scarborough. Again, that's an island that I've been to and I like a lot. So I've never been to Tobago, come to think about it. I've been to Trinidad. There's one that I haven't been to. So maybe that gets on a bucket list here pretty soon. How would that be? Wow. All right. The last story this morning, the world's largest cruise ship departed Port Canaveral on the 13th when a tragedy occurred on board as the Royal Caribbean cruise Wonder of the Sea set sail on its first Caribbean voyage from Port Canaveral. A Brazilian male crew member died shortly after departure. Sources have indicated that the crew member apparently died of suicide and left a note before his death, along with a video on social media. Allegedly, the crew member requested to sign off to return home due to some related to a poor situation back home after his contract was extended. However, some sources said that his request was denied. Some crew members said that he also had some back home issues. The talk amongst crew members is that this might have been the trigger for the alleged suicide. The investigation on this is continued. Of course, our thoughts and prayers are with the crew member affected, his family, and all of the Wonder of the Seas family as well. Always a sad story when you have to report those kind of things. That's it on the news today. It wasn't a whole lot, admittedly. It's been a very slow news week. Let's go over see who's in the chat room. Hot Air Tom is with us. At this time next Friday, we will be at the Polynesia Culture Center getting islands warmed up for Gretchen the following week. Hot Air Tom, that means you're going to go to Hawaii and get laid. Cindy will object to that. I just want you to know ahead of time. She'll be wanting to kill you. I can see her now. I'm going to kill him. I'm going to kill him. Nikki's with us. Hi, Nick. Hot Air Tom says hi, Nikki, too. I just extended our stay in Myrtle Beach until January 8th. How many nights fee? So added a week or so for nothing. Had many nights free. I'm sure that's supposed to have said. So added a week for nothing. Yeah, well, if you added a week for nothing, I'd do it too. Happy cold Friday, Sonny says. It's cold down in Mississippi too. Man, I tell you what, this business of wearing sweaters is beginning to get on my nerves. As the oxygen people found out this morning. It's all because I can't get on a boat now for a couple of weeks. That's it. I hate wearing sweaters. I know, I could wear a sweatshirt or something instead, or a jacket, or a winter coat. I didn't look to see how cold it got this morning. If it's anywhere near freezing, it's cold enough for me. Robert's with us. Hi, Robert. Everyone, rough night last night, but being here with you guys puts a smile on my face. Thanks. Well, glad you are having a better day than last night, Robert. Sonny says, hope today is better as well. Nikki says, hanging in there, spent time at the Mayo yesterday. Doc's adjusting the meds, maybe now. I hope so. Can y'all hear Chillie? Uh-oh. Thanks so much, Sonny. Means a lot to me. Hot Air says, I can hear him. Whew. Lord, I about had a heart attack there, thinking I'd done the whole show and y'all didn't hear me. Sonny says, I can hear him. Yeah, okay. Thanks, Sonny. The audio problem was on my side. Okay. Ugh, that stinks. Chillie reminds me a tiny bit of my insurance company and insulin pump supplies. Unbelievable. Sorry you're having to deal with that garbage. I know, it's just ridiculous. The bottom line is they don't want to spend the money. They don't want to go buy a new unit and then parcel it out to me on monthly payments that they have to do. I mean, everything, I mean, even the oxygen tanks, I mean, I still pay for them. You know, I just don't have to give them cash when they deliver it. I get billed every month for them. And the nebulizer, when the doctor tried the nebulizer, so they had to buy that, and I had to pay for it on, you know, it just added a couple dollars onto my monthly bill. Emily's with us. Hey, gang, I have the day off. Sweet. Took my sister over a year to adjust meds correctly. Yeah, that can happen, Nick. Sorry about that. That makes sense. It's in Australia. Wonder how long Princess makes this announcement. Wonder how long before Princess makes this announcement. Well, I mean, I'm assuming that, you know, that's come down from Carnival, who owns Princess. So, yeah, I'm sure they've started the same thing, Tom. So glad you and Cindy are still traveling. Aloha. Yeah, me too. Hot air, have a great time in Myrtle Beach. Nah, I don't care about Myrtle Beach hot air, Tom. Have a great time in Hawaii. That's the one that counts. Let's see. Sonny says, Tom, can't wait to hear about your Hawaii trip. I'm going soon. Need recommendations of stuff to do. Well, Hot Air Tom will come through with that. You know, I'm sure we'll have some kind of live streams from Hot Air Tom too. I almost guarantee it. Emily says, thanks for asking. I definitely don't feel like I did 2 days ago. So yeah, she's feeling better. Hot Air says we are eating next Thursday night at Aloha Table and Saturday night at Duke's, doing the luau at Polynesia Culture Center on the 25th and Rockahula Luau on February the 4th. Nice. I think if people just covered their mouth when they cough or sneeze and wash their hands frequently, they could seriously slow down the spread of COVID on cruise ships. I agree, Amy. That's one of the things that I do is wash my hands, you know, sanitize my hands a lot. But I agree with the coughing or sneezing business totally. And I can't believe there's still people that are coughing outright and not doing the, you know, the elbow thing. But they do. And when I had those kids literally coughing on the back of my neck, I about went nuts. So that was in one of the long lines during disembarkation from Carnival. But yeah, Amy, basically I agree with you there. My whole point in all this is whether you like it or not, if the Carnival or any of the cruise lines say you got to mask, do it. They wouldn't be doing this if there wasn't a cause. They're not going to do this clearly just to make things nasty for people that don't want to mask. That's not the reason behind it. So, yeah, I don't like it at all. I'm one of the first people that got very comfortable not masking on cruise ships. But if they tell me I need to mask now, I'll mask. So, and my whole point is, you know, the whole business of freedoms and that argument that certain part of our population threw out. Yeah, no, don't do it. Don't even try it. Just accept it or don't go. That's all I'm saying. Hot Air says doing a Viator private customizable circle tour on Monday the 5th with dinner at Aloha Table that evening, then off to the airport for an 11:30 p.m. flight. There's Kenneth up in snowy Pennsylvania. Emily says, hey. Funny, the 11:30 flight says dinner served. Who eats that late? People on 11:30 flights, when they get food stuck in their face, are going to eat it. I promise you. Now remember, that's 11:30 Hawaii time. That's not 11:30 back in your Eastern Standard Time brain. Get all confused with clocks. I do, at least. Kenneth says, I am hopefully you're having a wonderful morning. Yes, I'm having a good morning. Other than the dumb with the oxygen people. Other than that, it's been a pretty good day so far. I am going to go out and get my hair cut today, folks. I hope that I can get in on a Friday. Yes, I know. It's been time for me to get a haircut. And I need to get a pedicure too. I need both ends worked on today. I'm hoping to do that this afternoon. Kenneth says, we do a 2-hour horseback tour where they made Jurassic Park and then do an ATV tour in Maui. Nice. Very nice, Kenneth. 2-hour horseback tour Jurassic Park would be very cool. I agree, Sonny. Again, I'd love to do that, except for my scooter. Can't put the scooter on the back of a horse. I'm not sure I could get up and down off of a horse no matter what I try anymore. Unless they use a lift chair to put me in a horse. That's a possibility. Ooh, that reminds me, I didn't put anything in about the pool on my accessibility report. I got to go edit the accessibility report. I just posted on Carnival Paradise because I didn't put a little paragraph about the swimming pools. Of course, they're inaccessible. I mean, there's no, but they do have a lift chair. But, other than that, I consider them inaccessible. But most people don't if they have the lift chair. Kenneth says it has amazing views. Sonny, Robin, and I loved it. Want to do it again. Robert says exactly right. Chillie, I mean, really, what is the purpose of insurance companies needing prior authorization other than to delay them paying the bill? It's just keeping them from paying altogether. I know. I agree wholeheartedly. Oh goodness, we got sex bombed again. Haven't had that for a long time. Wow, where's Pittsburgh Jason when you need him? Block user. Done. Yeah. A bomber in the chat room, Emily says, yep, I just took care of it. They offer ATV where they made Jurassic Park too. Yeah, the problem with that, Kenneth, an ATV, I'd have a better shot of being able to crawl in and out of, but they won't take the scooter. So under the outside chance that ATV would break down somewhere out in the rough, then I'm left, without being able to maneuver at all. I sure as hell can't walk back. So, yeah, it's until they actually come up with accessible tours, and we have a group of us that are working on those now at almost every port. Until they learn and come up with it, it's just excursions are going to be very few and far between for me. Sonny says, where's Jason? Get that bomber. Emily says, where is Jason? I don't know. Maybe he's working today. I don't know. Wow, what a mental image you just gave me, Chillie. You on your scooter on top of a horse. Yeah, well, I mean, what am I going to do with it? I get on the horse, I go out there, and that's leaving the scooter. Which by contract, I'm not supposed to do that. I'm never supposed to leave the scooter unaccompanied. Technically speaking, I had the issue with the width of the doors on Carnival Paradise, the door into my room where I had an inch clearance. It was all on both sides of the wheels. So during the day, I would leave my scooter in the hall when I was in the room. Most of the time I left the door open so I could always see the scooter. But technically, I'm not supposed to do that. Technically, if I'm in the room, I'm supposed to have the scooter in the room, which obviously at night, because I've got to charge it, that's why I have to go through the hassle of getting through that little narrow door. But yeah, the scooter on a horseback, that is a rather laughable thing. And I used to ride horses in my younger days. I may have been a couple pounds lighter than I am now. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up. Oh, Hot Air Tom says, I was imagining a pool lift chair raising Chillie up to the horse. Yeah, that would work. I might even let him do that. I'm going to take a big busky guy to be able to, crank me up on a horse and take a hell of a big lift chair, too. Of course, I might give the horse a sway back as well. Weight limits on horses? I don't know. All right, guys, that's going to wrap me up for the weekend. I mean, if something happens, of course, I'll be on. If not, I'll see everybody Monday. Okay, let's see. I'll give you the schedule for next week. There will be no show on Thanksgiving Day on Thursday. None. Not pre-recorded, not live, not nothing, zero. I am going to celebrate the holiday. We will be going out to dinner at some point in time. That's going to give me a break and everybody else a break as well. The Cruise Amigos will be on Wednesday afternoon at 1 o'clock my time. That's noon Central Time and 6 o'clock Greenwich Mean Time for you guys on the other side of the pond. So we're going to try to do that Wednesday. Amigo Martin will be on another river cruise next week. So we should have some interesting sights from him. And who knows what will happen with John up there in the North Pole of Minnesota now. He's in lots of snow and zero weather and things. And me here in Virginia. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday, normal show at 11 o'clock. No show on Thursday. Cruise Amigos Wednesday afternoon. And then Friday will be normal show again, celebrating Black Friday or whatever we calling it this year. So, all right, that's it for today, guys. I will see everybody. If anything happens over the weekend, I will see everybody then. If not, I will see everybody back here on Monday at 11 o'clock Eastern Standard Time for Monday Travel and Cruise Industry News. As always, stay safe, stay healthy, think about cruising. Hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. This is the old fat travel guy. Have a fantastic weekend.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live. This video was produced by Chillie's Cruises.